my name is Moya Blue and I'm here to give you some tips about reading in foreign languages. So I guess the crucial question is, do you like reading? If you like losing yourself into this world of fairy tales and fantasy and just any type of a story, if you're more of a visual than an auditory type of learner, if you just find it as something that's very useful, then this video is for you. So you started learning a language and you don't really know how to switch from this beginner's level into something more advanced, and you really want to start reading and you don't have much of a vocabulary, then I guess the most important question would be at this point, which is going to basically cover the whole video, is what do you like reading? Find something that you love, because if you're not interested, you're not going to be motivated, you're not going to do it. What I like to do whenever I want to learn a language, or whenever I want to read in another language or start reading in another language, I have to separate easy and difficult literature. So forget about difficult literature. You're probably gonna need some time to get there. Only if you're really ambitious then and really hardworking you can do it, but I always start with the easy literature. Based on my experience, I will tell you some of the genres that you can take, but that doesn't necessarily mean that any book from this genre is easy, just that this is probably somewhere you should look first. So you can cover something that is for teens, romance, fairy tales, even though sometimes fairy tales tend to be very difficult, so maybe not fairy tales that much. Mystery books, like fantasy books, thrillers, something like that. But make sure you're gonna have to dig deep or read a snippet just to see what you're dealing with, because if you just, buy a book and you can't really read it, then why did you spend your money on this? So try to read a snippet, or based on your knowledge of certain books in your language, choose specific books that you can start reading in different languages. When I'm reading in different languages, I usually tend to read, especially at the beginning, I usually tend to read young adult books, books that are going to entertain me, books that are kind of like movies or soap operas or TV series, something that really keeps your attention, because you need that extra motivation. You need something to be exciting. You need to be interested in reading that. And this kind of tends to happen in when you watch a soap opera, when you watch a TV series, and this is something that you need to incorporate in your book. So the second type of books that you can read are books that you've already read in your native language, but you find very, very entertaining and very interesting, and you really want to read it again. Do not read it in your mother tongue. Read it in a different language. The reason why this is going to be extra easy for you, or at least a bit easier, is because you already know the plot. You already know the plot, you know what's going to happen, so you know the context already. So you just need to figure out individual phrases, expressions, words, and learn on the way. Okay, so let's continue with our second bigger question is, where do you find these books? Now you kind of know what you want to read, so where do you find it? Well, there are several possibilities for you. The easiest one is, if you live in a country where you want to learn the language, you just go to a secondhand store and you're gonna find books that are so cheap. I bought books here in Germany for 50 cents and I love reading these books. So try to go first to these secondhand stores. You will be surprised what you can find over there. I found some really, really good books. If you're like, no, I really want this book, just this book, I don't care about anything else. Now I'm so interested in reading it because I've read the plot, it sparked my interest. Then what you can do is go to a bookstore, obviously. Ta-da! You can buy on Amazon, buy for Kindle. So as far as I know, Kindle books are cheaper. So something that does not need to be printed, that is downloadable, is usually cheaper. One big tip is always go for classics. Classic books are, for some reason, way cheaper than novel books. And the last place where you can search is the internet. If you are reading something in some very not so well-known language, or sometimes specific books are found only online, and this is what I've been doing for my Spanish and my Portuguese for young adult books. I just go online, I type in the name, I type in download PDF. This is how I read, I think, like 20 books so far. So if this is illegal in your country, or if you really don't want to download it, you can, again, just write out the name, write out the title, and write down PDF, read online. Obviously, the easier thing would be actually to write it down in a specific language. So if you're, for example, if you want to find a book in Spanish, then you're gonna write down libros gratis en español. That's the easiest thing. So always search in that language in which you want to read. Okay, so you found what you want to read. You've actually found a book. So what do you do while you read? You just read. Well, the beginning is the most difficult part, I have to say, because you are interested in the story, but you still have to start reading it, so you still have to get into it. So give yourself a bit of time. It's going to take several pages for sure, but then things are going to get easier. If it helps, again, read a plot, and that will keep you interested, I guess, I hope. And this is why in the beginning I said you really have to be interested in the story, you really have to be motivated, and if you're not, then might as well just leave the book and never open it again and sell it, throw it away, whatever. So, you're reading a book and you find out that 50% of the words you don't really know. What do you do? Well, I will tell you from my experience, focus on words that repeat themselves. So if you have some word that's been constantly repeating itself, write it down on the side, search what it means, and only search for these words. Also focus on words that really create a problem for you to understand the context, to understand that they're a crucial part of the sentence or the story. So these are some of the words that you can look up. For that reason, it's always good to have a dictionary right next to you, or to have a dictionary on your cell phone or on your laptop, or to just have Google open. Again, it's not necessary. If you're a really good memorizer, then you know, like, you're gonna learn words like crazy, and I envy you. But do not look up so many words. If you look up every second word, you're just gonna lose the flow. You're not gonna be interested in reading anymore, and it's gonna be a task more of than enjoyment. So don't do this. And I know it's gonna be very difficult, because you're gonna realize that the more you read, the more words you don't know, but try to be creative. And when you're finding these words, underline them. Try to pronounce them. That's also something very crucial. You're gonna know what it's going to sound when you pronounce it, when you actually hear it. As readers, we tend to skip some parts of words, or sometimes even words. So it might happen that you don't really know how it would sound, so try to consciously pronounce it. What you can also do, if you're a very hardworking reader, then you can have a book or a notebook on the side, and you can write down or copy expressions, phrases, words, anything you can think of. You can also be creative, and you can try to write down your sentences and you know, make it your own. Something that also helps is if you read something or some phrase, some expression that is part of your passive vocabulary and not of your active, I always underline it or write it somewhere on the side, and try to make an effort to be a part of my active vocabulary. So like really focus on it, what it means, try to think of when I can use it, in which context. Again, is it useful for me or is it not? If you, after all of that I've said, if you realize that it's still so difficult to read that book, that story, that fairy tale, wherever it is, then try to find something easier. Try to find maybe something shorter, maybe some books for children. That's also fine if you can find them. But yeah, do not push yourself. Reading should be an enjoyment. It should be something that you want to do before you go to sleep, or when you have an hour free, or when you have a day off. And the last tip is, when you finish your book, try to find something similar if you genuinely enjoyed the book. So go online, Google books similar to this and that, and most probably you're gonna find some suggestions. These are some of my tips. Everyone is different. Find what works for you. That's the most important thing. It has worked for me so far. I still enjoy reading in different languages. For that reason, I probably miss out on very difficult literature in my own native language, or in some other languages, but you have to start with something, so that's fine. Eventually you will get there. So for all of you bookworms that have stayed until now and that enjoy reading, I get you completely. And I do hope some of these tips are gonna help. Good luck and continue reading in different languages.